Welcome to the SuperSpeedway.
Backing these into the fence is definitely not fun, especially in stage two. It's a bummer for our team. I felt like we've executed really, really well at a high level this year that's put us in the position that we've been in. And to now be out of the race and not get a chance to work on our car, is a real bummer.
Do you want to have a conversation with Carson?
Oh, I will.
Are you going to approach him after the race?
No, that costs too much money.
Welcome to episode 363 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. I'm your host, Erik Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. Thanks to frontstretch.com for the audio we stole for the start of the episode. Good stuff. Old Stenhouse.
Old Stenhouse. He's learned his lesson.
That's a good line, though.
Don't fight in the parking lot.
What a great line.
I know. I was waiting for it at the end of the race, but he must have got out of there.
Yeah. Like I said, too much money. It's $75,000 last time. That's a big chunk of change.
Here's, where I want to start with Ricky.
All right.
Let's just get right into it.
All right.
Everybody's laughing because Denny Hamlin had a fraudulent slip.
Yeah.
On his podcast. Let me tell you something about Denny Hamlin that I've learned over the years. Denny doesn't ever say anything out of his mouth that's not pre-planned.
Right.
That was not a slip. He called him Ricky on purpose.
Not like they can't edit that podcast either,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, so since we're going to go there right away, I'll go there as well and say what Carson did was wrong, and he shouldn't have done it. He should have it was beginning of stage two. He should have just lifted and let Stenhouse in. That being said, listening to Ricky Stenhouse complain about somebody else's driving is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of all the guys on the field that can complain, he's really not one of them.
Yeah. Well, when your nickname is what it is.
Yeah.
Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah.
Although I will say this. Ricky's been much better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has.
Late.
The season that he's put together this year is remarkable. And I mean,
he's an older driver now too.
Yeah.
That he doesn't drive like these guys.
That remarkable season took a step backwards thanks to a Michigan driver this weekend.
Yeah.
But
Michigan's own Carson Hocevar.
Yeah. So, but I don't know, man. I hope Carson keeps being Carson. Like, I'm good with it. I love it. And there was some great discussion about him on Door Bumper Clear this week. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to that. Some really good discussion there. And
Adam Alexander dubbed him Ross Chastain 2.0.
Yeah, right.
On the broadcast. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. Sure. I guess, if I have to retire the nickname and pass it along to somebody else, maybe that's that's it.
I wanted to ask that question. Like, you're still a Carson fan, right? I mean,
I like Carson, but I don't like the behavior of Carson. Okay. Let's put it that way.
I wanted some clarification on that because honestly, I think he's more blatant than Chastain was. He's just has a different personality.
Yeah.
He's likable and Chastain's less likable. Ross
got pretty high on the totem pole there. I don't know if Carson's quite at that point. If Carson keeps it up, he's going to get there. He's approaching that level.
I don't know if Carson was going to get there. I think he'd be there already. He's had some run-ins,
Carson
James.
Doesn't. Yeah.
How many right hooks did Chastain do?
He did one memorable one at Darlington.
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick, pretty nasty in the Xfinity.
How many has Carson done? I mean, I know it's only been he's only done it once.
Two
in the
that
Cup
I
series,
recall.
But...
There's probably more, but there's two. One in the Truck Series was really bad.
Yeah. He had a couple in the Truck Series.
He's had a handful.
Yeah.
He races like a rookie a lot of the time. The thing with him is he's faster than all get out. He's got a car. It really does mimic a lot of Ross. Like, he's got a car that's pretty good. The difference, I think, though, is he's elevating that car beyond. Right. Yeah, I think even what it's so there. There's
so is Ross.
Well, you say that, but I think Ross is doing more of that now. I think Ross is doing that now.
He was doing that
versus,
then too.
I think in 2022, Ross had a faster car versus what he's got now. He's evolved into a faster driver. I think Carson's got just ridiculous speed.
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint what Carson is just yet.
Right.
He's ultra talented, and it's almost shocking how talented he is at times. But then he reminds you, like, he's just a young buck yet, and he makes a lot of really silly mistakes.
You know what he is?
Yeah.
He's a driver who's going to win his first race this season.
Oh, it's coming soon.
I mean, it's close. He's close, man. He's right there.
If he doesn't blow his motor last week, he's probably already got one.
Yep.
I think he was coming for it. So yeah.
I will say Jeff Dickerson talked about it a little bit on DBC and from Spire, and of course, and he mentioned that people aren't really considering the fact that he literally got pulled straight from the Truck Series to the Cup Series.
That's right.
He skipped a step. And so he's learning stuff he would have learned in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, and thus he's going to be a little bit more raw.
There is a new bucket of driver, and he's one of the guys that's in that bucket. Him and Corey Heim are like peas in the pod to me. Like I don't understand why they come up to the Cup Series and are as good as they are. And you look at like Ty Gibbs and like, why can't Ty Gibbs figure it out? And these guys are. Like, I've seen Ty Gibbs do amazing things.
Yeah.
And then you watch this race on Sunday and you're like, holy crap, Corey Heim's having an awesome run. And I know he wrecked and he made a mistake, but same thing as Carson. He makes a silly mistake, but man, it's like you see these guys and you're like, God dang, they have for the most part this car, like they understand how to get this car to move.
Right.
It's really strange that they're as good as they are.
Yeah,
especially with the teams that they're racing for compared to their peers. That's the thing that I can't.
Maybe it's a comfort thing.
Can't figure out
when your name when your name's on the side of the building. Are you as uncomfortable in needing to perform as much as a couple drivers who are, on the chopping block every week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
not to put down Ty Gibbs, but we've been high on him on here, but he's regressed.
Well, and I don't think his talent is any worse than what he's shown us. Like he just hasn't figured this car out. And then you've got Corey Heim, who's like just a world beater.
Yeah. Like
if they kept putting him in a cup car, he'd start. He's at the point now where I'm like, oh, he'll probably get a top 10 here pretty quick, top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have got a top 10 on Sunday if he didn't, have his issue with Brad.
Probably find out. We'll probably find out next year what consistency will do.
Can you imagine being Riley Herbst and just every time that guy shows up, you're like, ah, dang it, dude.
Yeah.
he's gonna kick my butt again.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna have to answer questions about it.
I mean, I'm like, that's right. Riley Herbst is in the field, right? Like, I don't even remember that he's there.
Yeah, I know. It's really fun to watch some of these guys, but I just can't. It's like they're kind of like these bottle rockets that are like holy crap, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd they come from? And all of a sudden, bang, something's happening,
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see. I think the other thing is like diversity in the field. It's
right.
Like, obviously we expect Larson, Byron, Blaney. Those guys have been up front a lot, and we expect them to be up front a lot. And then you've got these, like young cadets.
Right.
just like on their heel, nipping at their heels, which makes it pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been watching a lot of highlights and videos and stuff from old NASCAR, like in the 80s and 90s, and there's so many cars that you see mentioned that you're like, oh, I don't remember that name. Like I've never, like that guy was never like anything, blah blah blah. And we don't have that anymore. This whole field is stacked. There is. Of what 36 regular cars every week, there are 34 that wouldn't really shock you if they won. Right. I mean, it's like it's incredible. There's only a couple guys that you're like, yeah, Cody Ware's not going to win this race. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
Cody Ware, JJ Yeley, and Chad Fincham are the guys. Those are the guys.
Otherwise, it's like any one of these guys could win a race, and we'd be like, it still would be a surprise, but no shock.
Yeah, but then you see like even John Hunter Nemechek. Like I know he had a bad race on Sunday, but like at the Coke 600, you're like, holy crap, John Hunter Nemechek. He's doing pretty good. And then you go a week later and holy crap, Erik Jones doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of people are bitching
it's
about this
everybody.
car because it's so equal that it's hard to stand out. But at the same time, I guess I would argue that it has made the lesser teams have a better chance at winning, but it hasn't. Look at the points. Look at the winners this season. It hasn't changed the end result. The top guys are still winning races and winning the majority of the races. So is there a problem? I don't know if there really is.
No, the fast cars. Yeah, nope.
So I don't know. I've heard a lot of every week. It's like it's either it's too easy to pass or it's too hard to pass. Every week, whatever the on track product is, we're unhappy with it and wish it was the other way. And then if it's the other way, it's still not good. I'm just so frustrated with the bitching about the package.
I know, yeah, and people get mad that Kyle Larson's trying to fight to stay on the lead lap. What was that, stage 2?
Yeah,
like he's going a lap down, and I'm like, well, he's got a right to fight. And then you look at the end result of the race, it's like, well, that car was getting better throughout the day.
Right.
I don't really think like they couldn't get past Kyle Larson because he was slower than them. He's obviously got a good enough race car to finish in the top 10 by the end of the day. I don't think that was necessarily a car problem. I know there's a lot of aero blocking and Joey Loganoing around the racetrack that goes.
Yeah, and
on
I'm not saying it's perfect. I don't know that things are as dire as some people want to make them seem like they are. I think this car is developed, and I think, I really enjoyed the first couple seasons of the fluky wins, and oh my God, anybody can win any week. But at the same time, it kind of felt fluky. And so like now I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't really complain because the guys you expect to win are the ones that are doing the winning. So
no, this is more what I prefer. I want to see the best in the business do their thing, and then somebody comes along who's got to earn it. And right now, the guy who's got to earn it's that 77.
But we aren't wasting spots in the field on guys that just don't have a shot. That they're only there to run 30th. It's
right.
It's
and that's why to tap into again last week. That's why Ross's win was so impressive.
Yeah,
like had to, there's really fast race cars up there, and they just continued to build on that race car all race long, and it was a really great finish and really great battle to the end of the race. It is super impressive.
Yep.
It's earned. That was a well-earned win.
Well, speaking of impressive, 139 laps led for race winner Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney finally in victory lane this season, James. Finally. Sneaks a win in the end of stage 2, wins the race. We saw this coming, right? Blaney was going to win a race at some point.
Fast enough, yeah. Fast enough all season long. The points, without the bad luck, they've still scored a ton of points. So that a very fast race car.
Right.
Pit strategy though got him where he needed to be. Got him up front, and once he was up front, he was sitting good.
The opposite of what we're used to lately. Instead of pitting short, he pitted long.
And then it spun the system around back to his way so he could take 2 tires, get out front, and he was top dog there.
Yeah.
For quite a while, but I would say I think my favorite part of this entire race was when he was working his way back through to get the lead, and he was battling Hamlin and Byron.
Oh, that end of stage 2 was spectacular.
Just unbelievably great racing. Just the highest level. Those guys were inches off of each other, using the air around the cars to move their way forward. Like Byron just has a knack for getting on somebody's hip and kind of riding that quarter panel a little bit, and he was making do with that, and Blaney was doing it to him, and man, those guys were just slicing and dicing. It was awesome.
This was
the best
this
racing I've
race
seen all season.
This race is one of the rare instances where stage 2 was the best stage of the race instead of the final. A lot of times this first and second stage are just like, whatever, and then the third stage is when we race, and this one it worked out. The second stage was a lot better once we stopped wrecking.
You had to get through the wrecks of stage 2. Stage 2 got a little messy.
Definitely tore up a lot of cars at the start of that stage.
Yeah, there was quite a few that got tore up.
Yeah.
But man, that was, I mean, just some of the finest racing you'll see.
Well, and
is
so
those guys just getting after it.
I heard a lot of bitching on the podcasts that this race wasn't a good race. I voted yes in Jeff Gluck's poll. What about you? I mean, I thought it was a good race.
I'm a yes. Yeah, no, I have no problems with Nashville. And I know I had long green flag runs, but I have no problem with that either.
Yeah.
There's no problem. No problems on my end, man. I liked it.
It did get a little one groove at the end, and I think it had to do with the temperatures and the fact that it was nighttime. But even that, like, I mean, I was waiting for something to happen in the end, but we still had Hocevar trying to track down Blaney. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I listened to Bianchi, and Bianchi was saying that the dust off the tires was causing the lanes to get a little bit singular
Right.
from where they were, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like the tire wear was decent enough, but the fact is that it was kind of clogging up the other lanes.
I think we needed a caution because then you get the caution, they run around, they pick that rubber up. Because there was no caution, they never picked the rubber up, so we didn't get that reset of the track to allow them to run high.
And I think the other thing too is rubber doesn't goop up like it used to.
Exactly.
You know, it dusts now.
Yeah.
It's more fine, more of a fine process.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, what did you think? So every time we had a restart, we had that 24 car jump to the outside and make those moves. What did you think of that? Like, he was the only one doing it. And every time I'm like, man, is it going to stick? I don't know if it's going to stick.
I'm surprised more people didn't try it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was trying to lead you. I'm like, why wasn't anybody else doing that?
Yeah.
Nobody jumped to the outside like the 24, because I thought he found something, and I thought for sure the rest of the field was going to take advantage of it. Nobody else did.
Obviously, nobody else was comfortable up there.
Yeah, and that's the thing I thought too. I'm like, maybe it was more sketchy than Byron let on, but not that it mattered at the end of the race. We had such a long green flag run, it really didn't prove. But I thought if we did get a late caution, it could have got really interesting.
Right.
If anybody else would have gone up there with him, but he was the only one. But he was picking off an entire row of cars every restart, which I thought was like sketchy.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know. You're the only one up there, dude. But he made it work.
Yeah.
Kudos.
I want to touch on Christopher Bell, who gets wrecked, hits the wall, and I'm like, he was in my fantasy, but I had Stenhouse in my fantasy too, so I couldn't do anything with him. And I'm like, well, there goes my day. And then all of a sudden on the restart, he's coming up through the field again. And he ends up with a freaking 10th place finish. Holy crap.
Battled, just hung with it. I was actually going to ask you about this too. Whose fault was that one? Because I felt like he blocked Erik Jones a little too far, and Erik just said, I'm not letting you block me anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of what I thought.
I'd have to go back and take a look at it, but I really feel like, first of all, I don't think Erik Jones is ever going to cut any favors to that 20 car. Just saying.
No. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
He has a good run, and those haven't been as frequent, so he's not going to back down.
No. Yeah.
And I noticed some aggressiveness in this race from Erik Jones. It wasn't just that instance, and I like it. I want to see it.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, it's great when you have a race car and you can do some things.
You can't be that guy anymore that just lays over and lets people go by if they're fast.
Exactly.
You just can't race like that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't get blocked into oblivion.
Yep.
Down to the line, and then just give it up.
Yep.
I'm all for you holding your ground at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't dump him. I mean, let's put it this way: what he did was I had much less issue with what he did than what Hocevar did.
Yeah, like Hocevar could have let Ricky have a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
But Ricky wasn't blocking either. That was more of it was like, you're not getting this from me. Whereas Jones.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is that whole thing was that was two stubborn drivers, because I went back and listened to the audio today of Stenhouse, and he is warned that the 77 is coming, and he is warned that he's low, and then he still goes down there anyway. So who that car is behind you. So I feel like that is just as much Ricky's fault as it is Stenhouse, or as it is Hocevar's fault.
Yeah. Hocevar could have cut him some slack.
Yeah.
Being
in the end, Hocevar is the one that made contact. So in the end, it's more his fault. but I believe that Stenhouse.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Both of them. There's no point to do it at that point in the race. Just doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yep.
You know.
Yep. It's the old my old famous cliche: "Live to fight another day."
Yep.
Like you get to you each got to make your choice. And Carson, it didn't affect his race. He had a great run.
Right.
So it didn't really matter to him. it might later in the year.
Yeah.
You mentioned short track or something.
You mentioned Kyle Larson as well. Kyle Larson fighting to stay on the lead lap at the end of stage 1. Manages to. He ends up with an 8th place finish, battling back up through the field. Just not a great car, I guess, and then ends up caught in the one wreck. I don't remember which wreck it was, but doesn't actually get involved in it. The talent to lock that thing down and not slide into it was pretty impressive, I thought. And just, again, another Kyle Larson day. He didn't place in either of the stages for points, but still comes back and finishes in the top 10. So
had good wreck avoidance too.
Yeah.
On the Noah Gregson.
That's the one. Yeah.
Incident.
Yeah.
And I should call it the Alex Bowman incident.
Right.
Alex, I don't know what's going on with Mr. Bowman, but he got out of that one, and then the team just kept working on the car, made it better. I mean, he didn't score hardly any points compared to everybody around him, but got the job done by the end of the day. Top 10 finish.
Yeah.
I think Dale Jr. called that championship a championship run.
Yeah. I mean,
he's
reminding me more and more of Jimmy Johnson, just that they can make a good day out of a bad day or a mediocre day. I will say, though, the thing he doesn't have that Jimmy Johnson didn't have is that he oversteps the line frequently.
Yeah.
And he has a week like last week where he almost looks silly because he just can't get out of his own way. But it doesn't happen enough to have a massive effect. But it can't happen in playoffs, and that's the problem. Is when it does, he ends up out of the running. So,
yep.
Anyone else worth discussing? We talked about Erik Jones. Hocevar gets a 2nd place finish. I guess we didn't address that after the run-in with Stenhouse. Great run from him. Certainly had an opportunity. And the best thing about it was that he wasn't going to catch Blaney, and he didn't overstep and try to. He just took the 2nd place finish.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And he was disappointed afterwards, but nothing to be disappointed about.
No.
I don't think.
No, I think it was his third top 5 ever. I mean, that's...
look what he's doing in that Spire car compared to the other guys on that team. It's pretty impressive. I just go back to that. It's
Dickerson pointed out again that everybody's kind of overlooking McDowell, and I agree with that. McDowell's running really good in that car too. But yes, Hocevar is
McDowell,
above and beyond.
Yes. Yeah. McDowell's steady.
Yeah.
He's steady.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen
the...
more out of Haley in that car, but
but also you got to remember they brought in Rodney Childers, and that did not go well.
That's true.
And now they're kind of playing.
Yeah, they're basically starting the season over at this point. We're halfway through the regular season. So you're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. But Haley is I think he's a better driver than where he's showing right now.
Oh yeah, I agree.
We got time. We got time for him yet. Yeah. I wanted to shout out the typical 2311, the pair, the 23 car and the 45. Tyler Reddick had a flat tire and got a decent caution break, got his lap back, and battled all the way back because he was a contender to win this race at one point. Got back to the top 10. Then Bubba, just solid Bubba day.
Yeah,
had to pretty much work his way through and earn that top 10 finish. That was a good Bubba day. And then Carl Edwards made him cry post race.
Did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they were talking about he got talking about being a dad, and all of a sudden he broke down. I was like, hey, gosh dang, bud. And my wife was watching with me, and she goes, what's going on with Bubba? And I go, well, Bubba's going through a little bit of a transformation this season.
He's a changed dude, man. That's for sure.
He is a changed dude for sure. But that was a great run. They needed that one after a couple of tough weeks in a row. Good to see Bubba have a good day. And then Tyler Reddick, too. That was just another... Shows you who Tyler Reddick is in that team. That's a good team to have bad luck happen and battle back, just kind of like Larson did, too.
Yeah. Kyle Busch, top 12, finishes in 12th. I wanted to point that out just because if you heard any of Austin Dillon's audio from the race, they were on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and Dillon was extremely frustrated with their choices that they made during the race. So
Yeah.
That's, I mean, we're still heading in the right direction for Kyle. He's up there. He's in the conversation. He's not competing for wins, but he's in the conversation. So,
Yep.
and this is as funny as it is. Michigan has either been a great track or an awful track from him. There's no in between. He has good success here. He has good average finishes here. He's also had some really miserable days at Michigan. So it'll be interesting to see what he does this week.
I've been in the stands when he's won a Cup race and an Xfinity race there.
Yeah.
So he
I
can
was
get it done.
I was there when he spun on lap 1 of an Xfinity race, and I was there plenty of times when he put it in the wall in the Cup car. So yeah,
Oh, he's yeah. It's feast or famine at MIS.
I believe the
KFB.
quote was, "I effing hate this place" when he hit it the one year.
yeah. Well, he might not hate it so much if he comes out here and gets can get a win. He's
RCR
had
cars
success
have run well here. Dylan's run well here.
He won at Auto Club.
Yeah.
When Auto Club was still around.
Well, and
sister
Austin
track.
Dillon had a. I mean, it was the old car, but he had a really good run going into until Brad Keselowski wrecked him on the front stretch after the stage
And he's
break.
had good runs even before. He had good runs even before that.
Yeah.
Austin Dillon likes this place.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yep, it'll be interesting. Anything else with the Cup Series?
Chase Briscoe, awesome that he got a pole. I
Yeah.
think he had brake trouble though. That kind of wrecked his speed for the most part for the rest of the day. But still seeing flashes that we want to see. But I'd like to see a complete race from Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, they haven't had one yet. That's for sure.
But yeah, he was out front there early, and then just the car just slowly faded. But he was, I think a lot of the Toyotas were having brake fade issues, and he was the first one that was kind of early in the race. He's like, man, my pedal's getting soft. And I think that came back to bite them long run.
Yeah.
During the day. So.
Ryan Blaney, 14th victory in 356 Cup Series races. Funny, our highest finishing rookie was Riley Herbst in 24th. William Byron's points later, 48 points over Kyle Larson in the Cup Series. NASCAR Xfinity Series in action on Saturday night. Not a whole lot to discuss other than Justin Allgaier, 101 laps led in this one, putting a whooping on him. Beating teammate Connor Zilic to the line and gets the win for. And Sheldon Creed finishes 4th instead of 2nd, so good on him. I was waiting for him to do something. He's always just there, but just not enough.
But not quite.
I'm still pulling for him to get that win.
You haven't given up. You haven't sold your stock yet.
No, I haven't. I feel like when he gets he's going to get a few.
I'm just glad that Eric Almirola showed up and didn't win one.
Me too.
Once. He just seems like every time he shows up, he just steals the show. So,
yeah.
Not that I don't like you, Eric. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
just,
same here.
Just spread the wealth when you're around. That's okay.
Yep. Chastain was also in this one, gets top 5 finish.
The JR Motorsports number 9.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sam Mayer 3rd, good run for him. Yeah, not much else to say, really. Austin Hill, Jesse Love finished right together. Teammates, Carson Quapple with a decent run, top 10 finish for him. Sammy Smith, top 10. Corey Day finishes 11th. I don't know, man. We're going to talk a little bit later about drivers coming up too quick, and I know that Kyle Larson's really high on Corey Day.
I wouldn't get too worried yet. I wouldn't.
I'm not saying, I just haven't seen enough out of Corey Day to be so excited about him like everybody else is. I just haven't seen enough.
Just needs a little more seat time.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
He'll be all right. I think he'll be okay. Should I try saying my favorite Xfinity Series driver's name? See if I can get it right.
Go for it.
Myatt Snyder.
You got it right today.
Did I get it?
You did.
Yes. He was in this race. I always get excited when I see him.
Yeah, 22nd place finish for him.
Yeah. Well, I saw him in the race. I was like, oh, I get to try to say it on the podcast.
He beat Daniel Dye, Christian Eckes, William Sawalich, Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah, Taylor Gray.
Chris Wright.
Matt DiBenedetto.
I said that. Are you not listening to me? Damn it. Jeez.
No, I am. I just wanted to say it like Dale Jr. did.
Oh, yeah.
He said it with a little bit more swang. It was more of a DiBenedetto.
Right. That's a pretty good Junior impression, actually. I'm impressed with that.
Hey, I can. It's my limited fake Dale Jr. Very limited.
28th victory in 485 Xfinity Series races for Justin Allgaier. Connor Zilic, highest finishing rookie in second. Allgaier's points leader, 92 points over Austin Hill in the Xfinity Series.
Looking like a repeat champion, possibly.
Could be.
Leaning that way.
I think the pressure is off for Allgaier this year. I know that he's blown some finishes, but the pressure is off. He's got that championship. Now he's just going to go click him away because he's got it. He doesn't have that stress. He doesn't have that stress of being a veteran in the Xfinity Series without a championship.
Yep.
So, Craftsman Truck Series in action. The Rackley Roofing 200 on Friday. Rajah Caruth gets himself a victory.
Earned it, too.
Yeah, he did.
No luck involved in that one.
No,
Went up and got it.
Beat Corey Heim and Lane Riggs, second and third.
Beat frickin' Corey Heim.
I mean, that's all you need to know right there. Because if Corey Heim's
be proud of that one, young man.
If Corey Heim's not wrecked, he should have won that race. That's pretty much been the season.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Not Friday night though.
Yeah.
Rajah Caruth's day.
I know I was just ripping on Corey Day, but he did finish fifth in this one. So.
Hey, he was in the same truck as Kyle Busch and beat him. So.
Frankie Muniz had a beautiful start to the race, dropping a couple trucks worth of oil on the track. I'll say, James, it was another time somebody else made a mistake and cost Frankie Muniz.
Are we going to get to see him on Saturday?
I would assume he'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, he'll definitely be there.
Yeah. I mean, he might not finish the race the way he's going, but he'll be there. I don't know. I feel for the guy. Like, come on, man. He's not wrong. A lot of the luck has not been. It's been bad luck. It's not been driver mistakes. He's made mistakes, but anyway. That was the second victory, surprising second victory for Rajah Caruth. It feels like he's should have had a couple more in there because it was not last year, it was the year before that he won, I think, right?
Nope, last year.
Oh,
it was early last year, though.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Been a while.
Yeah.
62 Craftsman Truck Series races for him. Dawson Sutton, highest finishing rookie in 11th. Corey Heim becomes the first driver in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history to lead 800 laps in the first 12 races of a season. So there's a stat for you.
The next person in line's got, 100 and some?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's insane.
Yeah, he is.
Better win the championship. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, better. Yeah, I know. It's right there for you, buddy.
And there you go. There's Nashville SuperSpeedway in the rearview mirror.
Rajah Caruth led more laps in this race than he led in all of last year. That's going
incredible.
in the right direction.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Going in the right direction.
I expect good things out of him still. I think he's got some ability there.
He could be he could be a full-time driver in possibly the Cup Series.
Yeah.
I don't think he's young yet.
Cup might be pushing a little bit, but yeah, you're right. I mean, there's time. He's got to build that up. But I certainly see him moving up to the Xfinity Series and being a strong performer there. So,
this should be his last full truck season. I think should be.
You can't get stuck there too long, man. You get stuck there, you're in trouble.
I know. Yep. Darn right.
I heard Jeff Gluck say on the teardown that Nashville is a nicer facility than he expected. So that's good to hear. I mean, that is good news. You do wonder a track that sat vacant for a decade and what kind of shape it's in. So it's good to hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll tell you what, it's on my list of tracks to potentially go
it's
to.
It's in a great area down at, like Nashville's. That's a great market for NASCAR down there.
And exactly. I mean, it's too bad it's not a little closer to the city. But I don't know, man. The problem is you get closer to the city and then you run into issues with people bitching about noise. So I don't know. I think, NASCAR for years built tracks a half hour to an hour outside of major cities, and it worked. And now suddenly we want to build them inside of cities. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, but, anyway, yeah, it's on my list. It's interesting because it's we're used to Michigan, which is a 2-mile track. I've been to Chicagoland and Kentucky, both 1.5-mile tracks. Atlanta, 1.5-mile track. Those already, I mean, they feel pretty similar to Michigan. They're smaller, but then 1.33 miles, really, it kind of gets you in that sweet spot where it almost feels like a short track, but not quite. It's probably about the perfect size for one of these races, to be honest. So,
yeah.
anyway, definitely on my list. Would be fun to check out. So glad we're racing there. Glad we continue to go back. Let's talk some news, James. This one could either be a nice long discussion or a quick one. We found out found out this week that Jim France was in the process of trying to field a car at Sonoma with his driver from the IMSA series through Spire Motorsports. What are your thoughts on this, James? A lot of people were very upset about this, and racing stink, and it sounds like it's not off, but it probably is because of questions that we're being asked. What do you think?
Better decision to just drop this one and not do it, is my opinion.
Yeah.
I just think, everything that went on with Penske at Indianapolis, I think time's not the right time, not the right place.
But this wasn't that type of deal, though. It wasn't Jim France starting a team.
Yes.
They were buying a spot at Spire.
He was facilitating. I understand.
I think it's a blown out of proportion situation. And I know it comes off of the discussions about the charters and the fact that he got in the agreement that NASCAR could own a charter. I get it. I understand. But I don't know, man. I think it's blown out of proportion.
I think there's a time and a place for certain things, and in a different time, maybe it's okay, but NASCAR does not have a good standing with their garage right now, and you do anything that's kind of questionable, you're going to get nailed for it. So
I mean, I do agree the timing's terrible.
That's bad
which
timing.
Isn't their fault.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think if NASCAR was starting a team, I would definitely have some concerns. That being said, it's also not unusual for the sanctioning body or somebody who part of the sanctioning body to own a team. In a series. Obviously, we see it with Penske. Penske is one of the top teams. Now, that being said, if you listen to discussions, you listen to little quips and comments and stuff that are made by teams, there is that underlying belief that Penske gets some favors because they own the organization. But whether that's true or not, I mean, I don't know. The stuff that happened in Indy, if anything, was at least a really good example-setting moment to say, now we're going to hold them to the same regard. IMSA, right. Jim France has a team there, and NASCAR owns IMSA. Other series it's happened as well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly much happier with NASCAR not owning a team. But as Jeff Dickerson said, a good point is if NASCAR owned a team, they would have a better understanding of what it costs to field a team, and might put the other teams in a better situation because NASCAR will understand their fate. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, it wasn't that it wasn't NASCAR's car. They were facilitating through Spire, but still,
I think this was one of those things that the news got out before the announcement, and because the news got out before the announcement, it made it sound worse than what it was going to be, and that's probably what killed it.
That's the thing too, is they shut it down as Jordan Bianchi was sniffing around.
Right.
And once Jordan started sniffing around, I think they realized, oh crap.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best idea.
Yeah. Dickerson said on Door Bumper Clear that they still have the car, and he said if it wasn't in Sonoma, they just run it.
There you go.
But yeah, so it's not dead necessarily, but it sounds like it's dead. So, Rockingham Speedway. James, you want to buy a NASCAR track?
I would love to if I had the money. Who's paying for it?
I don't know. You got the deep wallets, right?
Yeah, no, rough. Okay.
I mean, just cancel the Disney trip and buy Rockingham. Yeah. It's probably about the same price.
I'm too far in, dude. I'm too far in. Yeah.
Any thoughts on this? I mean, I know you have an opinion on it, but I don't know if you want to share that on the podcast.
Should I?
It's up to you.
You're my governor. What do you think? Should I say it?
It's up to you. I mean.
All right, I'll say it. It's convenient to take government funds to rebuild a place and put paint on it and then sell it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
If you think there's a market for it.
Yeah, I'm curious who buys it up.
That's how I'll word that. Yeah, that's how I'll word that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of tying into another news item, I mean, Matt Tift is out there buying racetracks.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to want to buy the Rock, though. It's too... NASCAR doesn't want it, right?
I don't think so. I mean, it's
Maybe
not
they do.
like they were in a hurry to go back there. I don't know.
SMI want it? They don't want that stuff. They don't want another racetrack on their...
No,
thing,
I
do
don't.
they?
I don't think SMI wants it if it's not a track that doesn't have a date now, because they want to be able to maneuver dates, not have another track they got to find a date for.
That's right.
So
That's
I
why
don't
that
know.
doesn't make sense.
Unless
I don't know. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, what happens if it doesn't sell?
Well, here's the thing, too. It's got the NASCAR agreement for a couple more years.
Right.
So NASCAR racing is going to be there. It's actually a decent... I mean, it's a quite the grift.
Yeah,
I can't believe it's for sale, but
I know.
I mean, if I could, I would. It'd be
Right?
Great.
Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. So
Owning racetracks is a bad business for most,
Oh,
I would say.
it's almost as bad as owning a race team.
Yep. Maybe Roger Penske wants to buy another racetrack.
There you
What do
go.
think?
I think, yeah. I was going to say Penske's out of the racetrack business, but I guess he owns Long Beach and
He owns Indy. Yeah.
Indy,
Well, he
so-
could. He could bring IndyCar to the Rock.
Yeah.
So, be interesting.
that would be interesting.
Not sure how well that would go.
I don't know. They raced at freaking
Probably
Richmond.
a great place for the Rock.
Yeah,
For
probably.
IndyCar. Yeah.
IndyCar
I think
needs to
actually
be back.
that would be a
They
really
need to be
good place
back on
for
some
IndyCar.
ovals. I was watching some IndyCar oval stuff recently, and they need to be back on some ovals.
Oh well, after you watched anything from Detroit.
Yeah.
My God, everybody! Somebody was telling me, my God, the course is so bumpy. I'm like, yeah.
Have you
Have
ever
you driven down Michigan roads?
Right.
I
Yeah.
drive down them every day.
Well, it wasn't even
That's how
just
it
that.
feels.
Like, even the walls all look janky. It looks really thrown together and run down.
Can't
Unlike,
they go back to Belle Isle,
ah, man,
please?
Belle Isle, dude, as somebody who's been there, Belle Isle was a nightmare because you couldn't park there. You had to
Yeah.
take buses to get to the track. So that's a pain in the ass. And that's, I think, the biggest problem. But Belle Isle's beautiful and it really, really works. And it's a good track.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was thinking about it. Like, can you imagine if NASCAR decided to partner up and run the street race in Detroit? You know, that'd be kind of cool. Race right downtown in Detroit. But man,
would be
those
cool.
drivers would all have concussions.
Oh my God, your bones rattle.
Yeah.
Life expectancy in Michigan's got to be a lot lower, just simply because of the roads we are forced to drive on.
I would definitely the life of windshields is.
Yeah.
I will say that the two-sided pit road though, and getting used for the first time in a caution flag pit stop when everybody has to pit at the same time was pretty cool. It ended up being less of a story, I think, than everybody was excited about it being, but that two-sided pit road's pretty interesting. So anyway, back to NASCAR news, James. Chris Buescher, RFK, they got a little bit taken off their penalty.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little reduction.
Yeah, I think they got points back, right? That's what the deal was.
Yeah, well, it was cut in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says 60, it was 30.
So, interesting there. Trying to see the.
Brad did address that they are changing things at RFK. He said, we've got too many penalties this year. So they're working on process to make this better.
Gotcha. So the decision by the panel concluded that NASCAR met its burden of proof regarding the reinforcement of the front bumper cover, but it did not meet it regarding the trimming of the exhaust panel cover. The rulebook regarding the exhaust panel trimming lacked specificity.
Specificity?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. On the amount trimmed. I'm only a professional broadcaster, right? Professional in air quotes. On the amount trimmed or not trimmed. Accordingly, the panel reduced the owner and driver point penalty from 60 to 30 points. So there you go. So good for them. They got some points back. I didn't see any changes in the rule book this week, so I'm sure that's coming.
Nope. I think they're okay. Yeah. I don't know if you're probably right about that.
NASCAR has added 2 starting positions to the Mexico City race for the Xfinity Series due to a number of entries to So Mike Ford explained this on Hauler Talk this week. And basically the gist of it is that they don't want the teams to essentially travel to Mexico and go over the border for nothing.
Yeah.
Except that if they race in one of those final two positions, they don't get money. They get no money and no points.
It's going to be a loss no matter what.
Exactly. So would you rather just take your stuff back in one piece, or would you rather go wreck it for nothing?
Might as well go wreck it.
I don't.
Why are we giving handouts all the time? Is what I want to know.
Certainly not a handout, though. It just doesn't make any freaking sense. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the Elio waiver.
I mean, I guess with the Elio thing, you get the sponsorship money, and you hope that's paying for it. But I don't know, man. The Xfinity Series already is a losing battle for these long distance races. They complain about going out to Portland and how much money they lose on Portland, but now we're going to Mexico City to race for nothing, crossing the border. I mean, it's just silly to me. I wouldn't be surprised to see those two drivers just pack them up and go home and not start for nothing.
Yeah.
Elton Sawyer said this week that increasing horsepower on the Cup cars is being considered and is being discussed daily within NASCAR. Thoughts? It sounds like 750 is kind of where they're thinking. Supposedly we're at 550 now, right? I believe.
Yep,
600, something like that. Thoughts? I know a lot of the teams I've heard say that it's not enough, but
yeah, lots of grumbling still, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit's better than none. I think it's worth a try.
Yeah.
We tried everything else. Tried everything else.
I think DBC said try it and shut them up.
Yep.
Try it. If it doesn't work, then everybody can shut up and we'll move on to something else.
The drivers seem to think it's not enough to make a difference, which that's fine. The drivers seem
We're not getting 1,000 horsepower.
I know.
Well,
you have to change so much. The cars aren't made right now for that. You have to change everything if you want that kind of horsepower. It doesn't work that way. I heard Jimmy Johnson talking about this, and he just said it's like there's this chain link, and if you want to put a piece of the chain link, make it complete. I'm not doing this analogy right, but you can't replace one and make it fit with all the others. It doesn't. It's not as simple as that. It's going to be awkward unless you do it the right way. So, in the car, it's just not going to function properly. So, should be interesting. I don't know.
Anyway, let's. You mentioned Matt Tift. Matt Tift buys Mansfield Motorsports Park.
That place looks rough.
Yeah, it does. He said it's going to be dirt to start with. They don't have the money to pave it. They're hoping it brings in some cash flow and they can do that. I think he said in like 3 years. So it's gonna be dirt for a little while. But anytime we take a racetrack and bring it back to life is a positive thing, right?
Yep, absolutely it is.
We're down for it. So, good deal. Anything else there? I mean, not a lot to discuss.
Erik Jones is on the pole for Money in the Bank at Berlin.
Well, I wasn't done with news. I was just done with that news item. Jesus. I know Money in the Bank right now. They're talking to drivers as we speak.
See, you got it on live.
Yeah, it's rain delay right now. They had a little shower come through. So,
bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Speaking of racetrack news, James, Atlanta Motor Speedway is dead.
No, it's not.
It's
not
not
my Atlanta Speedway.
It's now the EchoPark Speedway. 7-year, multi-million-dollar deal renaming rights. The article on EchoPark Speedway's website says a lot of investments have been made to updating the facility with EchoPark logos. So, I don't care. I don't care what these freaking places. Do we really care what they're called?
It's Atlanta. I'm just gonna call it Atlanta.
Yeah,
it's Atlanta.
Lowe's Motor Speedway never really bothered me. Infineon never really bothered me. It is what it is. If they can make extra money, invest it back in the track, I don't care.
It's their own company, so
right, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
it's all owned by the same people. It doesn't really matter. You can put whatever name on it you want.
Exactly. So,
good luck. More power to you, boys.
Yeah, I'm excited about this last news topic. Really looking forward to discussing this with you. Cleetus might be going truck racing, James. Cleetus McFarlane possibly looking to start a deal with Dodge to come back to the Truck Series. What are your thoughts?
Well, I hope you're happy. That's my thought. I hope you're happy. You did it.
Here's the thing.
You and your people.
Here's the thing. Love Cleetus. Great dude. bringing a lot of eyeballs to the sport. He needs to be careful not to go too fast. We have seen this story so many times that somebody with some eyeballs comes in and goes too quick and they go into oblivion. Travis Pastrana, Ricky Carmichael, Danica Patrick. The list is long. The list is very long. I don't want that to happen to Cleetus.
It includes everybody.
Cleetus proved very much at Charlotte that he is very, very green. If you've watched his podcast preparing for races, his podcast preparing for Daytona this year was scary as a NASCAR fan because he didn't know anything. And that's cool. He fine in the ARCA series. That's where you go to learn that stuff. But he's running so far he's running another ARCA race. He did Daytona Talladega. He did Charlotte. Now he's going to do Bristol, which, by the way, Bristol is going to be a freaking learning experience for him, I'll tell you.
He's going to be in trouble.
Yeah. I would be willing to put money he does not finish that Bristol race. But he just pump the brakes, man. First of all, you got to do a full year in ARCA. If you're going to, at his experience level, he's got to do a full year in ARCA at least. I realize he's driven a lot of cars. He's raced at Bristol before, but a Crown Vic with a roll cage welded into it is a lot different than an ARCA car or a Craftsman Truck Series car. I mean, the step from ARCA to the Truck Series is insane how far it is. I mean, we look at guys like Carson Hocevar, how much talent he has and how long it took him to win there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I want to see Dodge in the sport. I want to see Cleetus in the sport, but Cleetus, pump the brakes, dude. Slow down.
Maybe he should consult with Dale Jr. before getting too far down the line.
I would imagine
he has.
I would imagine Dale Jr.'s made a phone call. I can't imagine he would just sit back and not say, "Hey, dude."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Again, love Cleetus and I love this, but and I would assume that Dodge isn't probably, if Dodge is going to come to the Truck Series, they're not coming next year. It's probably down the road a year or two. So maybe it's going to be, the timing will be right. I don't know. But I
hope you're happy.
I don't want to see him. Right. Yeah. I don't want to see him become one of those stories. I just don't. I want to see him successful.
Well, he's just trying to make content. So
he's good for the
he'll be hit.
He's good for the sport. Hey, Larry McReynolds said that they might have him on for the alternate broadcast on TNT. So,
yeah, he's good at that stuff.
Yeah, or True TV.
Good
True TV.
Yeah, he's good on camera.
Yeah,
he's really good on camera.
Yeah,
behind the wheel, it's a little different ball game.
Well, he's a good driver.
Trying to climb the ladder,
but you can be a good driver and not have any experience in the car and not be ready. And that's where he's at.
Yeah, he can drive, but he's not. Like Ken Block was a great driver.
Right.
Cleetus McFarland's not Ken Block either.
Right.
Yeah. He's not even Travis Pastrana. He's not Travis Pastrana.
I know, dude. Travis Pastrana's wrecked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but he's also won championships on four wheels. So I don't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's wrecked a lot of stuff. Travis has wrecked more than he's won.
I understand. I totally understand. But Travis also finished in the top 15 at the Daytona 500. That he's not as bad as you think.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's wrecked a lot.
He's wrecked a lot.
I'm saying if you're
he's wrecked a lot of things.
If you put Travis Pastrana in your equipment, there's a better chance than none that it's not coming back.
Yes. Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
There also is a difference between skill and lack of brains to make you go fast. And I love Pastrana, but I think there's some brain cells missing there. And he might even tell you that.
I'm trying to give you as best of a comp as I possibly can. That's one of the best ones I can give you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is Cleetus better than Frankie Muniz? Maybe. He might be.
He hasn't shown me yet.
No. Frankie wasn't too bad in the ARCA car.
No.
So I'd like to see it a little bit more.
For me, if you're going to run an ARCA race, if you're going to run an ARCA and you're going to jump up to the Truck Series quickly, then you better be winning or finishing top 3 in the ARCA series in those races you're running. Because if you're not, the disparity in that field, I'm sorry, a 10th place finish is not enough. It's just not.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that some days I feel like you could go out on the street and just or go in the parking lot at Daytona and grab somebody out and put them in an ARCA car and they could finish top 10. So,
Boy.
I'm willing to bet that if I got an ARCA car, I could finish top 10 at Daytona.
Okay.
I just
I like your confidence.
You just have to hold the line and keep the draft.
You would be crapping your pants.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm not even. I about crapped my pants in the pace car at Michigan, taking off a pit road with Richard Childress. So,
well, that was because Richard was driving.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm wrong. I would pull into pit road and cry is what I would do.
I've been over 160 miles an hour in a 2-seat Cup car at Charlotte, and let me tell you, loved every second of it. Couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah,
no way.
I can't imagine going to the turn and holding it wide open.
I saw somebody the day I was down there. Saw somebody trying to drive down pit road. In the Richard Petty driving experience.
Yeah.
And couldn't get through the transmission and just completely blew it. And some worker just shook his head and goes, man, that's going to be a long night's work.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure that's pretty common for those guys.
Well, there you go. There's your news, James. Anything else that we missed?
Kyle Busch's house is for sale.
Is it? Ooh,
he posted that on Twitter. Yeah. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Serious inquiries only.
Yeah. He was selling something else too the other day. I saw.
Selling one of Brexton's cars.
Yeah, sprint car.
Well, he signed that contract with Richard, and now he's selling everything.
Right.
Maybe the writing's on the wall. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know. Well, there you go. Any checker flags this week, James?
Checkered flags. Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to the well one more time. I'm probably going to steal yours.
No, you're not, but I was going to mention it at some point.
Oh, man. The Earnhardt documentary.
Terrific.
I finished it up after that. Yeah, it was, man, oh, man. I finished it up on Thursday when the episodes came out, and just phenomenal work.
If your eyes don't start watering up during that 4th episode, then you don't have a heart, man.
Man, oh, man. 4th episode's something else.
Dude. Yeah, just incredible story. Dude. I messaged you, I'll forgive the inconsistent B-roll because it's so difficult. I mean, they said 10,000 hours worth of video they went through for that thing.
B-roll's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little jarring to the diehard NASCAR fan to see Daytona 2001 fade up and the walls have safer barriers on them, that sort of stuff. But it is what it is. It's, again, the story is great, and that's what it's all about. The amount of Earnhardt content they have that I'd never seen was so good. Just freaking great job with it. Absolutely great job. Little disappointed that we didn't get anything on Steve Park's victory at Rockingham and Kevin Harvick's victory at Atlanta. Felt like those were pretty important to the story too. But I mean, the documentary is Earnhardt, and it's definitely for Dale Sr., but there's definitely a lot of Dale Jr. in there too.
I think, and I thought about that. Like, there's some pieces missing, but I mean, everybody knows the story, and the documentary is called Earnhardt.
Exactly.
And they stuck to the Earnhardt, and I know the 29 car, was Dale's car, when Kevin took it over, but it kept things to the Earnhardt story.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Which
100%.
is which I think was what they were going for. But I'm with you. I wish they would have done something for Harvick, because that win was just so monumental. But when you tell the story, like that Dale Jr. win is is a lot more important when you cut to that as the next big thing.
Yeah. So. Oh, definitely. And as I was watching it, what I was thinking the whole time, or especially in that 4th episode, is, man, if we had something like this for Davey, or had something like this for Alan Kawicki.
Oh my God, yeah, Davey, yeah.
So cool but it's just such a snapshot of that time when you go back and think about it. Like, we had so many drivers dying, and there were concerns, but there wasn't like the full on, like, we got to do something until Earnhardt died. And it's just that whole stubbornness as a sport that
Yeah.
we had. That
Yeah.
well, it's not the top guy, but as soon as the biggest name in the sport dies in an accident, we're like, oh crap, we better do something. It just shows how ignorant we all were at the time, and I say we all. I mean, it was certainly. And,
and I think that's another part of the story I think that was missing was I thought they should have touched on. But again, this wasn't that story.
Right.
That's a different story to tell.
Right.
They should have touched on Kenny Irwin and Adam Petty and the wrecks leading up to what happened to Dale, because they do touch on the safety piece of it.
Yeah.
But again, there's things that are missing, but not in the context of the story. I think
Right.
they did an exceptional job. It's a very well done documentary.
And I have so much, which I already had a ton of respect, but I have so much more respect for Kelly.
Yep.
And definitely feel for her scenario as well. I really enjoyed this story from the Kelly aspect because I learned a lot more about her. And I knew that she was the business side, and I knew she was essentially acted kind of as Dale Jr.'s mom,
Yeah.
But to see it play out like that, it just, they did a great job with it. Absolutely.
It really
excellent.
was those two together.
Yeah.
Their whole life, which
Yep.
is pretty unbelievable.
Yep.
So
Yep.
very
Still-
cool.
Still to this day. So
Yep.
good stuff.
Yep.
We've talked occasionally here about the Money in the Bank race at Berlin Raceway. For those who aren't from Michigan, who aren't aware, that every year in June they run this race. It's on Wednesday night, leading into the NASCAR weekend previously until the NASCAR weekend moved to August. Now Michigan's back in June. And this race is a big super late model race. This is the 9th year they've done it. Usually get some NASCAR drivers in. Erik Jones is here. Carson Hocevar is here. Erik Jones has won it in the past. William Byron's won it. Chase Elliott, I think, has won it. Huge race here in Michigan at Berlin Raceway out in Grand Rapids, out in Marne, actually. And I just wanted to shout them out because we got weather coming in Michigan tomorrow night, so they made the decision to move the race up to tonight. Of course, they're still in a rain delay right now as we speak. But good on them for moving stuff up. These drivers and teams are all out there already anyway because they run practice today. So it's just a fan aspect, and probably the track lost money because I'm sure there were people that were planning on coming tomorrow that didn't come today because of the short notice of the change. But good on them to, instead of completely having it be a washout and just ruin everybody's day, they moved the race up a day and decided to get it in anyway. So good job for them. Hopefully it should clear up here. I mean, it's not raining anymore, and they should be able to get the race in tonight. So good on Berlin Raceway. And then I wanted to toss one more out with the Prime broadcast. Not just Prime, but just in general. I wanted to give a shout out, and I know he's been getting some props this past couple weeks, but he's deserved it all along. Adam Alexander as a play-by-play
he's
guy.
good, man.
He not only is he great, but he is so good at just stepping out of the way and not feeling like he has to lead every moment, especially on the Prime broadcast. Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, they're very strong, outspoken. Dale Jr. wants to be a play-by-play guy as it is, even though he doesn't. And Adam just steps back and just lets him do his thing. And it's so good. It's so much less jarring than it would be if he was constantly trying to interject. He's not. He doesn't have the ego that a lot of play-by-play guys have. He doesn't have to be the guy. He's just there to lead the show. So great on him. I absolutely love Adam Alexander getting the shot with the Cup Series. So good stuff.
Yep.
Any black flags this week, James?
Boy, I don't think so. Actually, I had a pretty good week.
Yeah, same here.
I don't have anybody to take out this week,
I'll think of something as soon
so
as.
I'm gonna be nice.
I guess I'll do this, and I know I hate when I do this because I listen to a podcast during the week and then I just reference them the entire episode. But Door Bumper Clear this week, Tommy Baldwin, I felt was a little hard on Carson Hocevar in their discussion. I think he was trying to lead Jeff Dickerson down a path to defend Carson. But I don't know. I felt like if I was Carson Hocevar listening to that podcast, or my team owner is sitting there talking to Tommy Baldwin and hearing the stuff that Tommy was saying about him. I don't know. I thought it went further than it needed to. I don't feel like Carson is as big of a problem as his reputation.
Yeah, a little overblown.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
A little overblown.
we just watched the Dale Earnhardt documentary, and Dale Earnhardt was an asshole, I mean,
Yeah.
he was constantly wrecking people for no reason. He would go
Yeah.
out of his way. Junior said it. He would go out of his way to ruin his own day just to wreck somebody. Hocevar is not doing that. So I
Yeah,
realized that Earnhardt grew into something different, and Hocevar probably will too. And if he doesn't, he won't make it. But
Yep.
I think he's getting more criticism than he deserves. So just wanted to shout that out there. And there we go. Michigan International Speedway this weekend, James. I'm going to see your smiling face in person on Saturday, huh?
Smiling. Okay.
It's going to be an early morning.
It is for me. I'm gonna have a long drive. It'll be all right. I'm looking forward to
Early
it.
morning, rush in there to be done by 3:00.
Heck yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
It's my kind of day.
Guess can't complain.
I won't complain.
Yeah, NASCAR Cup Series and the Craftsman Truck Series in action at Michigan International Speedway this weekend. We will both be there. We have not fully planned out what our exact plans will be, but I will tell you this much. I would strongly recommend you follow social media, our Facebook channel at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway, at tsuperspeedway on X, at James Cush on X. And I'm going to try and start either, I don't know. I will tweet out the TikTok because I'm going to do some TikTok content this weekend. I haven't decided if I'm doing it on my personal account or starting a separate account for it. But definitely planning on doing some stuff with that. So watch for that. We will hopefully do a race preview podcast Saturday night. I know it won't have a long life because the race is the next day, but that's the plan. So, but that all can change. So who knows? Just keep an eye out on the socials for what we will be doing. We'll keep you updated as we go into the weekend. We don't have the press conference schedules yet, so we don't entirely know what we're going to do.
Yep.
But NASCAR Cup Series in action, 2 p.m. on Sunday on Prime. It's the Firekeepers Casino 400. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Saturday with the DQS Solutions and Staffing 200, powered by Precision Vehicle Logistics, noon on Saturday on Fox Sports 1. I get to make the first pick this weekend, James. For the yeah,
Yep. I know it's early, man.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna go out way far off the reservation on my pick this week because
Why not?
There's a lot of drivers that have performed really well here. There's one who has performed really well lately and really has nothing to show for it at this track because he hasn't been there but one time. But I'm going to go with the Michigan boy, and I'm going to go Carson Hocevar backs up a second place finish with a win on the home track at Michigan and does it before Brad Keselowski and before Erik Jones.
Wow. Yeah.
So there
I
you
mean,
go.
you're riding the momentum wave there.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's what I thought. I mean,
like it.
he's going to be up front until he wrecks, so maybe he won't wreck.
Maybe he won't. Maybe he
Or
won't.
maybe he won't blow a motor.
I'll stick. You know what? I'll stick with your theme. I'll go toe to toe with you.
Okay.
Typically I take Brad.
Yeah.
From time to time here, but I'm actually gonna take Erik Jones, and it's based on merit. He's been pretty good here. Over the last 3 starts, 2 top 10s, average finish of 11th. So I don't know. Maybe he's got something for him on Sunday. Legacy seems to be stepping up a little bit. So I'll go with Erik Jones.
Brad's really good here too.
He is really good here. He just
had-
hasn't gotten the win yet.
He's had really good finishes. He has won as a team owner here, but not as a driver.
Yes.
So he's a great pick. William Byron really strong here.
Hamlin.
Yeah. But pre this car, Joey Logano was a guy to watch out for. Fords have won every race here except for last year for a really long time. With Reddick getting the win last year, so Ford's a good pick this weekend. Chevy hasn't won here in forever, and I picked a Chevy, so that's a great choice.
Eric, there's one thing I want to make sure we get to before we end the show.
Yeah.
And I know it's we're talking about Michigan-based drivers, and we almost forgot this, and I don't want to let it get away.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, we should talk about Mike Eddy really quick.
Yes, let's do that.
If you're a stock car racing fan, especially from the Midwest,
I was going to say definitely a Midwest fan.
If you're a Midwest person, you know the name Mike Eddy.
Yep.
He passed away last week. He was local to us specifically. He was
I drove
from
by
our
his house
area.
on the way to work for 10 years.
Yep. He's man.
If you
ASA
don't know,
champion.
if you don't know who he was the Dale Earnhardt of late model racing in the Midwest.
Yes. Yep.
Even so far as having
ASA.
even so far as having the sponsor. I mean, he ran the Goodwrench car for years.
He ran the Goodwrench car, number 88,
Yep.
Pontiac, which was always fun. But if you know anything about ASA racing, probably because of Mark Martin would be one. But
Or Rusty
people don't-
Wallace. Alan Kwiecki,
Or
they
Rusty
both raced
Wallace,
around
Dick
that time.
Trickle.
Yep.
And another guy who raced ASA with Mike Eddy, his name is Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Came out of ASA. Just the best there was in those race cars. And I was lucky enough. I got to meet Mike when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Couple of times, but just he was always super nice and just a great guy. So great race car driver and funny as heck too. When there's a couple of clips that went viral while after his passing this week of him getting out of wrecked race cars. Just a gem of a guy, man.
Yeah.
But it's too bad that we lost him. I feel like we lost him young. He was only 72 years old. But yeah, great race car driver. Wanted to make sure we mentioned him on the pod today.
Yeah, no,
before
I'm
we got
glad
out
you
of here.
said that because we almost missed it and I forgot to put it in the notes.
Yep.
I will say that back in 2004, a buddy and I went down to Berlin Raceway for the ASA series. That was the year that they changed their cars to where the numbers were on the back of them and everybody was annoyed and they were starting to get network TV and stuff like that. So went down to Berlin just to see an ASA race because, I'd grown up watching ASA. Of course, they ran at Tri-City Motor Speedway right here by us.
Yep.
And absolutely loved the series and wanted to go down and watch it. So went down to Berlin. It was my first race, I believe, at Berlin. I think I went there before for the ASA before the ARCA series. And get there and they're going through the lineups and talking about, and I can hear them talking. I'm like, did I hear Mike Eddy's name? Did I hear? Oh yeah. Mike Eddy showed up there. He had basically, he hadn't retired at the time. Just nobody was calling him to drive. And he wasn't feeling his own car anymore. So he got in the car at Berlin and won the race. And that ended up being his last ASA victory. ASA folded at the end of the season. So I was
That's a
there for
great
Mike Eddy's
story.
last race, which is pretty awesome.
That's a great story.
So yeah, didn't even
That's
know
a
he was going to
great
be
story.
there. That was back before the internet, when all the lineups and stuff were posted every race and whatnot.
So my story, I'll tell my story really quick. I was little. And when I was young, he was driving the Goodwrench 88. And when you're little, you associate everything. Like you see that Goodwrench car, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
it's Dale Earnhardt's car. Why is this person driving Dale Earnhardt's car? And we went to this like silent auction that was benefiting something, and it had all sorts of NASCAR and racing memorabilia that was on, up for grabs. And it was just me and my dad, and I got this hero card signed by the driver of the Goodwrench 88. And I remember my dad pointing to the card and pointing to the guy and saying, "That's Mike Eddy. That's who he is. That's the driver of that race car." And I go, "What's that, Dale Earnhardt?" And I'm sure he got that every day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
From some kid. But I remember he laughed and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, he's pretty good too, kid." And I just remember that from when I was probably, my daughter is 8 and I was probably younger than she is now, if I had to remember correctly. So
That's funny.
yeah, pretty fun. That was one of the times I met Mike, but my dad knew him through, my dad's in the manufacturing business. So he knew him a little bit from some of that stuff. 'Cause Mike raced, he had, Howe chassis, which is
Right.
another Midwest thing.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a tie in there.
Straight
So,
out
yeah,
of
just
straight out of Beaverton, man.
straight out of Beaverton. Yeah.
Those Howe chassis are all over the place, especially road
They are
racing.
all over the world. All over the world, they race Howe chassis.
Yep.
So, anyways, that shout out Mike Eddy. Wanted to make sure we spent some time on him here. We're coming to Michigan this week, and
Yep.
everything's going on, and it just seems fitting that if we had to lose him, kind of an okay time to remember him.
Yep.
A little bit. So
One more ASA Mike Eddy story. So I mentioned, Tri-City Motor Speedway is a track we grew up around. I lived, just down the road from the track growing up. Went there every Friday night for races on the old asphalt track. It's dirt now. Still have a love for the place. But anyway, the ASA series made many stops to Tri-City Motor Speedway over the years. And in 1997, they brought TNN out to do a live show.
I remember that.
I remember they put the portable Musco lights out up on the front stretch, and they were so bright you could see the track for miles. It was like daylight out there. Anyway, the race, it didn't end up being as great of a race as what Tri-City races usually were. It was a little less carnage than what we'd seen frequently there. But you could find the race on YouTube. It's still out there. It's the Mid-Michigan Chevy Dealers 300 Tri-City Motor Speedway. Jordan St. Amant has it posted on his YouTube channel. But anyway, just absolutely awesome to have TNN out there. Ralph Shaheen was the lead broadcaster. And of course, Mike Eddy was in that race and a favorite to win. Ended up spinning early and getting a flat tire and spent the entire race battling back up through the field. He didn't win, but he ended up toward the front. I think it was like top 5 or something like that. But I remember just watching him. There's a Tri-City Motor Speedway had a dog leg on the back stretch, and the track originally when it was built had a wall and then grass on the inside, and the pit area was down on the inside, so you could literally slide through the grass into the pits. And the insurance company eventually made them put a guardrail on the inside of the track. And so it became the width of the track, and then there was maybe a car width and then a guardrail in the grass. So there wasn't much room, and that dog leg on the backstretch was so freaky for drivers that weren't used to the track. But Mike Eddy was passing people 3 wide back there in that dog leg because everybody had slowed down, and he just hammered down on the inside. So he didn't win the race, but man, what an incredible experience to watch him battle through the field that night.
Yep.
All eyes were on Mike Eddy that night. And obviously a huge driver at Tri-City, big at Berlin. He was the winningest driver down at Berlin, especially for ASA. So good stuff.
Him and I remember at that era, not necessarily 97, but when Tri-City was racing ASA, Adam Petty came out there, and I think we looked this up one time. Jimmy Johnson actually raced out here. We didn't even know who Jimmy Johnson was back then. So
crazy stuff.
7 Cup championships later, but yeah, cool stuff, man. Anyway,
speaking of late models, the Money
Legend.
in the Bank 150 is getting ready to start. So
perfect. See, good timing. We'll finish this up. You can go enjoy your show.
There you go. There was something else I wanted to say about Michigan, but I don't remember what the heck it was. So anyway, Michigan International Speedway this weekend. We'll be down there. James, how about Fantasy League? Let's talk Fantasy League.
Ah, crap. I thought I was going to have to I thought I had a decent day, but
you were terrible.
Yeah, I know. I scored plenty of points, but everybody else was just a lot better. Smoking Girl Racing extends his points lead. He gets the win. Freight Train second. Barron Speedway tied for second, so I guess that puts Green Eggs and Hamlin third. Overall standings, I was 9th, by the way. Terrible. Overall standings, Smoking Grill, like I said, he extends his lead. Hendrick Flair second. I am third, and Ranger nipping at my heels in 4th. So I got it within 100. Now I'm over 100 back. So
there you go.
Continue to fight. Long season, halfway point-ish. So off we go.
There you go.
Gotta love it.
Well, Michigan International Speedway this weekend, James. Where can people hit you up on social media if they want to follow some of your stuff this week?
At James Cush on Twitter, and I'll be doing stuff on Instagram, putting stories out there and clips.
There you go.
It's kind of my early plan.
Perfect. I am at TSuperSpeedway on X. I am at eYoungDBM on Instagram. eYoungDBM is the TikTok as well. Again, not certain if that's where the stuff's going to go or somewhere else, but I'll make sure to put that on the socials this week. We'll definitely have lots of video with drivers during bullpens and stuff like that, so check that out. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. We'll certainly embed everything we get this weekend on there too. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio, wherever you found us this week. Please subscribe for new episodes each and every week. And again, like I said, Saturday, hopefully we'll have a special episode from Michigan International Speedway. Firekeepers Casino 400 in the Irish Hills of Michigan this weekend. On Sunday, we'll be back next week to break it all down. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.